Hello, good morning or good afternoon, depending of where in the world you're watching. And thank you everyone joining us. My name is Andrea. We have today a very special guest, Andrey Konushin. So I'm not going to take too much of his time and I'm going to shortly pass this on to him so he can start with his presentation. Just for those that don't know Andrey, I'm going to be giving you a very short introduction. And today he's going to be talking about game testing. And Andrey has more than 15 years of experience in software quality assurance. And for the past 4 years, Andre is a program manager at BSC. So, Andre, without taking too much of your time, I'm going to pass this on to you. I'm just going to remind everyone watching that don't forget that this event is live and you can ask some questions at the end. We're going to do a very short Q&A depending on how much time we have left. So if you have any questions throughout the presentation, just make sure to put them in the comment section, and at the end, I'm going to come back with Andre and ask those with you. I'll pass it on with you now, Andre.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. Today I'm representing Russian Software Testing Board, and here we develop the game testing syllabus, the new RSTQB module. And I'm going to speak about the demand for the game testing syllabus, and then how RSTQB processes are based, and the abilities which RSTQB gives and gave to us to implement our professional ambitions. And in the end, we will speak a little bit about the business outcomes of this syllabus. Okay, let's start. Here is the picture of the growing industry, of the growing gaming industry. And you can see that the gaming industry is bigger than the movie and the music industries combined. And you can see it growing from the year to year. And you can see the gamers all around you, all around us, and on the laptops, on the PCs, on the smartphones, everywhere. And not only playing the games, but gaming itself, gaming methodologies are coming into different areas of our life. Let's say for banking software, for the consumers applications or whatever. So the gaming is becoming more and more common in our life, even if we don't play the games itself. At the next picture, you can see the share of different platforms for revenue for the games from the year to year. And here you can see that mobile platforms are almost half, generates almost half of revenue of the all games, and about quarter and quarter for PCs and console games. And I think it's clear to us that the cause of these numbers, because you have your mobile phone everywhere with you, so you can just launch it and play the game everywhere, on the road, on the way to your work, or sitting in the queue, or everywhere. Okay, and here's another diagram which shows the share of developing not the developing, sorry, but let's say the portable games. The same game can be portable on the PC, on the smartphone, on the console, or VR headset, or whatever. And this picture is a little bit different from the previous one, where the mobile devices were almost half of revenue. This is not about the revenue. This is about the developers' efforts, which they are currently giving to the industry. And to our estimation, we have 300,000 of specialists involved in gaming industry worldwide, and almost half of them are located in the USA or North America. And 22% in Asia, 90% in Europe, and you can see the numbers on the left of the diagram in the absolute numbers of the specialists involved in gaming industry. And as we are from Russia, of course, we needed to estimate the number of specialists in our region, and this is Russia and the former CIS countries. And the number of specialists is around 9,000. So it's quite a big community of specialists involved in this domain. And these are not only game testers themselves, but also game developers and designers and publishers or whatever. And this was amazing that there is no common standard for video game testing. So every company, every community, every individual person who would like to join this process of game testing need to develop it by themselves individually. All these approaches to test gaming software. And of course, the idea of our syllabus is to gather all these practices, all this experience and skills, and create the new certification model, which can give the system of knowledge to the community, to companies. And when the company sends the employee to training course, let's say, they get this knowledge in a system, and after that, they know that the processes executed in their company involved, of course, in gaming industry, are done in a proper manner, and in the end, it results in the better quality of the whole product, of the whole process. And on the other hand, when the person has this certificate, then the employer knows that this person do all these processes in right manner, and he will get the employer get the better quality, better specialists, and they know how to compare them with each other. And if they change, the processes don't change, and you can just get more specialists, and the quality of the whole process will not be reduced. So, as I said, the idea of the syllabus is to create the new certification model with the syllabus and guidelines for examination to examine specialists in gaming testing area. And you may know that RSTQB in its portfolio has three main paths. It's the core path, where the foundation level, the advanced level, and the expert level are included. These are the most known and general path. And then agile path, of course, because agile methodologies are now very popular in the world and in the IT community also, of course. And the specialist path, where the specialist examines and get certain skills, certain knowledge in exact area. Let's say mobile application testing or performance testing. And here you can see the latest RSTQB syllabus, which was released a few weeks ago. It's AI testing. And the game testing module fits into this path, exactly into this path, the specialist path. So the specialist in game testing knows foundation or basics of software testing, and then they get some certain special skills by teaching the game testing. Who are the target audience? Of course, these are testers, test analysts, test consultants, test managers, and acceptance testers involved in game testing. Of course, this is the main target audience. But also game developers, video game developers, and other specialists involved in this industry are also a target audience because, the testing is only one of the process of the whole development of game software development and when you know when you are a developer, you also should know the at least basics of game testing, and that contributes in the whole process, in the whole quality of the process of the end product. So the target audience is not only testers, but also other specialists involved in this industry. And when we go to types of testing used in game testing, these are well-known types like functionality testing. Of course, it's as usual, it's one of the main type of testing which is executed during the testing. This is also compliance and compatibility testing. Localization testing is also a very important type for the testing because the same game, one game, usually goes to different markets, and you should not only translate but also adapt it to this market, to this culture. I will stop at this topic some later on the next pages. So localization testing for game testing is very important. Performance testing, that's nothing new, but when the game is buzzing, you will just not play it, or in the end, you will not pay for it. So the publisher will not get any revenue. So performance is also a very important thing. And multiplayer testing is the new type of testing which we introduce in this syllabus to the whole RSTQB, let's say, glossary or types of test. And of course, if you played a game in your life, I think I can imagine that almost everyone had done it. So when you played it, of course, it's more interesting to play with different players, with other players, and multiplayer testing is the new type of testing. And in our syllabus, we introduce it and describe how to do it, how tools can be used during this multiplayer testing or can't be used also. And beta testing and regression testing are also well-known approaches which are used during game testing. Nothing new, but it has some specifics in game testing, and that's what we talk about in this syllabus. Now I will show you how the structure of the syllabus was evolving during the time. We developed this syllabus for already 1 year, more than 1 year. And this is the initial structure of the syllabus. This was consisted of 9 chapters. But during development, we realized that some chapters are not needed, some chapters are need to be extended, and I will show you in a short this process. So these 3 chapters had not changed during the development. Of course, we need to talk about the game testing specifics, and that's the main idea of the syllabus, to explain to the specialist that playing the game is not the same as testing the game. Testing the game is a professional activity, but playing the game in most cases are not professional, but But of course, there are some professional gamers, but we're not talking about them. So this is the main idea, that you should not only play the game but test it with specific approaches, with specific tools, devices, and reports or whatever. Game state mechanics are also had not been changed, and game controllers. Okay, these chapters were transformed during the development. The areas of testing had been split into three self-sufficient chapters: graphics, sound, and game level testing, because all these types of testing, or areas, let's say areas of testing, uh, has its specifics, has its roots of defects, and we need to talk about them, and we need to treat them properly with proper tools or proper approaches. So that is why we decided to separate them to self-sufficient chapters. Then localization testing, I also mentioned it before. Localization testing was extended by also internationalization testing. Yes, I did it. Because you not when the game is going is released to the market, to different markets, you can't only translate it, you need to adopt it to local culture, because let's say US culture and China culture are very different cultures, and you cannot just translate the words or text or sound. You need to take into account all these cultural things. And sometimes the game cannot be published on this specific market without huge changes inside, and not only related to, let's say, text or wording. And that is why this chapter was extended a little bit. And the chapter game platforms during development process was reduced, because we realized that mobile platforms or web games or PC games has nothing very special to deal with it, but the specifics are only in game platforms, or better say game consoles, which are also well known in world. It's Sony, PlayStation, and Nintendo, and Microsoft Xbox. And the specifics is not about the approaches to testing, but it comes from the consoles itself, because of architecture or known bugs or development kits which are delivered to testing company to test the game before publishing it. So that is why we decided to reduce this chapter and to stay only on these two consoles. But web games or PC games or cloud platform games has nothing very special. That's why we just excluded them from the syllabus. And also we excluded three chapters from the initial structure. This is the AI testing. You know, if you play the game, you can play with bot, and it's a kind of artificial intelligence. And the RSTQB, as I said a few weeks ago, had released this syllabus for AI testing, and we just refer to this syllabus, and we do not want to repeat or to take in the opposition with this syllabus, even when the game testing is going in opposition when testing AI. We just refer to this syllabus. This is the self-sufficient syllabus itself. Non-functional testing. This also has nothing special to deal with game testing, because usability or performance testing uses the same approaches like in other areas, like in banking software, in accounting software, in let's say website development or whatever. And the approaches are the same. You just have the different object of testing. That is why we just refer to this other special syllabus, and that's enough. And testing tools. This was excluded at the how to say, the separate chapter, but the testing tools, there are no special testing tools for the gaming itself, which you can use through the whole process of game testing. But there are some special tools for let's say graphics testing or sound testing, and these tools were included exactly at these chapters. So we just spread this chapter through the whole syllabus where it was needed. And the final structure of the syllabus looks like that. It's consists of 8 chapters, and now we are in alpha stage, so the structure is more or less final. But who knows, maybe after the review we also put some changes on the structure. But let's see. Okay, so let's go to the abilities which RSTQB gave to us. We at RSTQB has a huge experience in translation and adoption of RSTQB and IREP syllabus and glossary. And if you are Russian, you may notice that a few months ago the RSTQB glossary has been extended with the Russian language. So this is also our let's say our work. And we are members of professional communities, of international working groups, and we have close cooperation with the domain experts in, in gaming industry in particular. And of course, we are in close cooperation with the different RSTQB working groups. And when the idea was born, we decided to implement it, especially in the RSTQB syllabus, because what RSTQB can give to us. This is the contribution in the world community. We can give the new structure of the knowledge, or the systematic structure of the knowledge in game testing, because as I said before, there is no international standard for this. The RSTQB syllabus, I need to mention it, I need to notice it, that the RSTQB syllabus is not the standard, but it gives the system knowledge, the system of knowledge, and that is why you can influence on your processes, on your final quality of result of the product which you develop. Also, we would like to share the experience, our experience in this industry with international working groups, experts on markets. And on the other hand, we would like to gather the feedback or to get the experience from these international groups, to check with them. Are we doing the right way, or are we doing the same in the whole world, or it has very different approaches, and then we can put it in our syllabus. The next step is to develop the course, because I said the next step, or on the other hand, I can also say that this is the previous step, because when the company hired the company of which we deal with in Russia, when they hired their employees, they had to train them before, and they had some let's say drafts of materials for colleges and universities to train their employees before they go to the company they are hired. So the course development was on one hand is the previous step, on the other hand it's the next step when you can give the ISTQB accredited courses. Development of certification exams, also the ability, and the idea itself, I must also notice it, that the idea itself for creation of the new syllabus was born from the idea to write the book about the game testing. But the book is not stopped, and we do it in parallel. We write, one of our colleagues write the book, and the different part of colleagues develops this syllabus or new model for ISTQB. And we are also, of course, in close cooperation. We have the same team members, and this is what ISTQB gave to us to implement our professional ambitions to go to the IT community, to IT world. Let me show how the ISTQB product development processes looks in a short. Of course, everything is done under the ISTQB strategy and vision. ISTQB, or we as a part of ISTQB, gather ideas from the markets, updates from these markets. We put them into the funnel, and then it goes to ISTQB committee, and then we decide whether it's worth to develop this new product or to update the current product, or it doesn't make sense to develop even new syllabus, let's say. And then it goes to product management, to working groups, and then it goes to ISTQB members, like ISTQB boards or exam providers or experts from the industry, to get feedback, to get review results, and to get the better quality in the end. Then it goes to the market again, gathered feedbacks, and that's the cycle how the ISTQB lives. So it's not the stone, let's say stone standards or stoned syllabus, but it's a live syllabus. It's a live knowledge. And the product development also, of course, is done by iterations. Let me show how it was done in our case. We created the syllabus structure first of all, then we created learning objectives for every chapter of the syllabus. Then the elicitation of material and comparing it to learning objectives and pulling out all, how we call it in Russia, pulling out the water of this material. We created the contents, then it went to review every chapter by itself. Then we put it on the translation in parallel to get the original English version and the Russian version, to get to the market with the Russian version as soon as possible also. And then each chapter went to this cycle of reviews, of changing the contents according to these reviews. Of course, in close cooperation with ISTQB glossary and portfolio, which means referring to other ISTQB syllabi. And when all chapters are gathered together, the document compilation is coming, and then we go through the stages like alpha review, beta review, and then the release. So now we are, as I said, we now at alpha stage, and the beta is planned for the February of the next year. So and it will be the public beta review. So everyone is welcome to the public beta review next year. And the last page, the business outcomes of the game testing syllabus. Of course, it's about cost reduction on game development. when compliance testing and beta testing are done in a more effective way. It's about cost reduction and audience tolerance when you do the compatibility testing, compatibility with different platforms, different devices, and etc. etc. The international game release risks minimization. When I said about the localization testing, when you don't do localization testing, you will get the huge risks when going to international markets. And the optimization of infrastructure and expenses when talking about the new type of testing, the multiplayer testing, because usually it is done on the real devices, and that is why you have a lot of expenses to gather all this infrastructure. So by doing the right multiplayer testing, you may optimize these expenses. So the business also get, of course, benefits from the syllabus when the experts who do the gaming testing do it in the right manner, in effective manner, and doing it in the right way, resulting in a better quality in the end. So that's what I wanted to tell you today, and I'm looking forward for your comments or questions, and I'm open for and we just a second, and here at RSTQB we're also open for cooperation, so you may come even earlier than the public beta review is started.
Thank you for that, Andre. I hope you can hear me well. So we do have a couple of questions over here. Actually, I'm going to leave your details for a little bit longer on screen so everyone can see them as well. So we have here a question by Nick T. Says, what experience does one need to have to work in the gaming industry as a QA and be considered as a good candidate?
Okay, if we talk about the ISTQB qualification scheme, of course, the specialist should know basics of the testing. That means the foundation level certificate, let's say. You may not obtain the certificate itself, but you should know these basics as the common basics of testings. And when we're talking about the consideration as a good candidate, we are talking about the examination, and I don't think that I'm able to explain exactly today the exact skills or whatever, and we should elicitate them from the syllabus. But of course, as I told before, you should have special skills, special knowledge in this area connected to special types of testing, let's say, or approaches used or tools used in this area. So this is the idea of the specialist path of ISTQB, is when you have the specific skills on knowledge.
Thank you for that. I hope that answers your question, Nick. Anything else, just let us know in the comments section, any questions. I actually have a question over here from one of the Facebook groups from Matthew. Says, what techniques do you use to find all the bugs in a game?
Okay, here again we come back to the foundation level syllabus, and the first principle of testing is that you can find all the bugs. So the approaches are described in this syllabus in some cases are very similar to the approaches in the software testing itself. But let's say when you test, let's say, I don't know, banking software, you don't pay a lot of attention to, let's say, video or performing this video, yes, because the purpose of this software is to give you the possibility to make banking transaction, let's say, or to get the details of the bank product. So you need the information on the screen, which is shown to you in an absolutely different manner. It's a static text in most cases. But when we talk about the games, you should test all 3D models, all textures, colors, let's say, interlaying of these layers. When we talk about the sound, you should put it on the gameplay. So it's a very special, let's say, how to say, uh, keys of testing, let's say, which you should pay attention to.
Yeah. We have here a question from Mariusz. Says how you could comment this mistake of release. Cyberpunk 2077. Not very sure. Is that a system?
Okay, Marius, I need to excuse here because I cannot comment it anyhow. But I need to notice again that I'm not an expert in the gaming industry itself. I'm not working in the gaming industry. I'm representing our task force. So, if you really want me to answer this question, you can contact me or our working group, and of course, I can give this question to our experts, and they for sure answer you.
Great. Maybe you can share with me again your slides where you have the email address, and in that way we can leave
Yes.
it on screen for a little bit longer. Marius is happy, so I have a hint that he's going to be contacting you to get some more details on that.
Yes,
Let me
Marius,
just put your
yes.
slides again on screen. So here you go, Marius. It will be info at rstqb.org. So if you send an email there, you will be able to get a more detailed answer to your question. Thank you for asking. So I think those are all the questions that I have so far. Thank you so much, Andre, for your presentation. Such an interesting topic and lots of positive feedback. Already, you have some people that is going to be contacting you shortly to get more
Yeah, yeah.
information. So I'm going to finish the session for now. But of course, if anyone have any questions, do contact them, and they will be able to come back to you or let us another comment here, and we'll come back to you through the social medias as well. So thank you everyone for watching, and stay tuned. We also have another session soon happening. So see you soon, and thank you once again, Andrea, for joining us.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Take
Marius,
care.
waiting for you, Marius.